And welcome back to Sports the Nemo Way, our draft edition where we move on to the NFC. And that will be started with the NFC East and the Dallas Cowboys. Fuck the Cowboys. Anyway,
They're America's team, Alex. You can't say that.
yeah.
Talking NFC least, right?
Yeah.
East. Wow, that's a good one. I like that.
I mean, that is a popular thing right now. It goes in waves. The Seahawks got into the playoffs with a losing record not that long ago, too.
I know.
Yeah. I think they won a game, actually, yes. But anyway, the first pick, or the 12th pick in the first round, was Micah Parsons, linebacker, Penn State, freaky, twitchy athlete. Second round, Kelvin Joseph, cornerback, Kentucky. Third round, Oda Jizua, defensive tackle, UCLA. Also third round, Chauncey Golston, defensive end, Iowa. And also third round, Nashawn Wright, cornerback, Oregon State. They also had 2 fourths, a fifth, 2 sixths, and a seventh. So lots of draft capital. By the way, I will say one of those thirds came from the Eagles when we moved up in the first round. So, I will say this: about half my family is big Cowboy fans, and they were very upset with the first round draft pick. Not that Micah Parsons isn't good or that they don't like him or anything like that, but they just repeatedly keep spending draft capital and high draft capital on linebackers, a position that is some teams don't even care about anymore. So, what does everybody think about the Cowboys taking another linebacker?
I don't think the Cowboys knew what to do. I think they traded down to try and think of something to do because I think they thought they were getting Surtain, and then the Broncos took him.
Yeah.
I think they panicked. They didn't know what to do, so then they traded down, let the Eagles and the Bears pick. Well, the Giants, what they thought of the Bears. So they give them trying to think of something. I think Sean Lee retired. They just took a linebacker.
Yeah.
I think what Drew said is really right. Their guy was taken by Denver. They weren't sure exactly what to do. Nothing against Micah Parsons. I think he's a really good linebacker.
Great athlete.
Yeah. I think they would have been better served to go with the 13th or 14th picks. Rashawn Slater, that went to the Chargers, the offensive tackle out of Northwestern, or Tucker, the best offensive guard in the draft at a USC that went to the Jets. Started rebuilding their offensive line. That formula worked for the Cowboys in the past.
It did.
So, I mean, that's just my thought. But
I thought it was funny that Jerry Jones hyped up Kyle Pitts for, 2 weeks straight.
He did.
And then that's not what they did with. They didn't even trade up.
They traded down.
They traded down. And then I'm so confused on what's going on.
Well, here's my personal opinion. I think Jerry Jones is crazy and doesn't know what the fuck's going on. And he says a lot of dumb shit because he's a attention whore and is constantly needs attention, or he throws temper tantrums like a small child. And he's the only owner in the league that gives weekly interviews about his team. My owner gives one interview a year. That's it. I don't know about your guys' owners.
My owner's 96.
Well, how's Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones ain't no spring chicken.
yeah,
I don't know if he's 96, but he's old.
She's literally the second owner of the Bears.
Yeah.
It was George House and then his daughter. That's it.
yeah,
That's all we've
Jimmy
had.
Castle. Yeah,
I think
my owner doesn't. Yeah, he didn't talk about that.
And your owner is supposed to be a big ego maniac too.
Yeah,
He doesn't say that.
And then I think Ursay, I think he had like one big moment, and then you don't hear from his ass anymore because he screwed up.
I mean, his big moment was getting caught driving like 100 miles an hour high on coke and meth. So I mean,
Yeah.
like, so I mean, hey, Jim Irsay made the news. I mean, but anyway, Jerry Jones has done wonders for the Cowboys brand. I just don't,
Oh yeah.
and maybe he did a
Yeah.
long time ago, know what he was talking about with personnel, but he obviously doesn't now, and his ego is so huge he can't get away from it. But let's be honest, his son is running things, and other guys are making decisions because if Jerry Jones made all the decisions, they draft skill position players every single year.
They'd have Johnny Manziel.
They'd have
playing
Johnny
quarterback.
Manziel and a bunch of receivers and tight ends and running backs, and they'd be paying all of them a bunch of money, and it'd be a joke of a franchise.
Was it Jimmy Johnson? Was he the one that told the Cowboys they wouldn't win again?
Well,
After
I mean-
he left and they made him leave.
He ran Jimmy Johnson out of town. He ran Bill Parcells out of town, and then kept Jason Garrett for a decade. So, I mean, let's be honest. Jerry Jones just likes having yes men as head coaches. He doesn't want somebody that thinks for themselves. He doesn't want somebody that wants any control over personnel. He just wants yes men working for him. Anyway, this isn't the Jerry Jones segment. I apologize. But you're paying a linebacker. What's his name? The athletic guy out of Notre Dame.
Talking about Van Der Esch?
No, not Van Der
Not
Esch.
Van Der Esch.
Van Der Esch is there though.
The guy they drafted that was hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, they actually got a pretty good deal on him because they drafted him much later than we would have.
Yeah,
Um,
Jalen Smith. Yeah, Jalen Smith. They're paying him $15 million a year. They have Van Der Esch, and now they have Parsons. And how many times a game do you play three linebackers?
How many times are they all not injured?
Lester Van Der Esch has been hurt a lot recently. My point is, like, and they took Jabril Cox in like the 4th round, who is one of LSU's best linebackers.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing in Dallas. I hope they screw it up. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, but I mean, hey, whatever. Kelvin Joseph, decent corner out of Kentucky, a little bit of a bigger guy. Will play more some of the more physical receivers, I think.
Be a good matchup, I think, for Kenny Galladay when they play the Giants twice a year. Since Kenny Galladay's bigger.
Yeah, they took a couple defensive tackles, and then cut one of their current defensive tackles, Woods. So hopefully, for Cowboys' sake, they can come in and play right away. And then they took. I don't know anything about this defensive end at Iowa, Chauncey Golston. But every Golston that gets drafted in the NFL, because there's a bunch of them apparently. Apparently, it's a really popular name. I've just never heard it outside the NFL. They all seem to flop. Wasn't Golston one of like those workout warriors a few years ago and
think so,
went really,
yeah.
really high in the draft and couldn't even make the team?
Right. Yeah. You're right. I think I do remember that.
They took another corner in Nashawn Wright out of Oregon State. He's really big. He's 6'4". So I don't see a plan other than they went defense, which their defense isn't any good. So, I mean, that's not a bad thing, I guess, if you're a Cowboys fan. You do need help on the defensive side of the football. And you have 3 really good receivers. You have an okay tight end. You have a good quarterback. If your offensive line is healthy and can protect him, he's going to put up a shitload of points. He did that last year in this new system of theirs.
Zeke will be better.
I mean,
Unless you hold the ball.
their other biggest problem is they're paying Zeke. But if their defense improves, they're legit. If their defense is good, then the Cowboys are NFC contenders.
And the offensive line's got to hold up.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But I don't know that these guys are good enough to make their defense good, though. I think Micah Parsons is good enough to play right away and be good. I don't know that he changes your defense necessarily, but he's good. I think some of these other guys might be playable, but are they defensive changing guys? I don't think so. But Parsons is a freak athlete. Didn't he run a 4.3 at his pro day? Didn't he run like a 4.3 and then like had like a ridiculous vertical and like Yeah, it was crazy. Well, does anybody have anything else on the Cowboys before we move on?
Well, hopefully it works out, guys.
I hope it doesn't.
Erica's team.
And now we move on to the New York Giants, who in the first round, with pick 20, took Kadarius Toney, receiver, Florida. In the second round, took Azeez Ojulari, linebacker, Georgia.
Stud. Great pass rusher. He is.
I'll be interested to see the next time you don't say stud when I say Georgia.
I didn't say for the tight end.
Third round, they took Aaron Robinson, cornerback, Central Florida. They had a 4th and 2 6ths. Here's what I'll say about the Giants. You talked earlier about the Cowboys panicking. The Giants completely and totally panicked.
Took another receiver.
Well, they didn't just take a receiver. They wanted Smith. And we traded up and took him one pick in front of them.
And the Bears.
And the Giants didn't know what to do, so they traded back and then reached on a receiver because they really wanted a receiver. And I was like, not that I'm dissing on Kadarius Toney. I think he's a solid receiver. He'll have a career in the NFL. But you could have gotten a lot more value at 20 at another position. It's not like the Giants are loaded and just need a receiver to be really good. They need all over the field. They're not that good. Like, what'd they win? 6 games this year? 5-6 games?
Yeah.
Now, tell me about this stud linebacker here, Drew, from Georgia, this Azeez Ojulari.
He's like Khalil Mack. They were like earlier pass rusher. The Peach Bowl, he had, let's see here, 3.5 sacks, forced fumble return. That's with half of Georgia's defense sitting out because they were all PO'd because they lost 2 games, not playing for a national championship.
So let me ask you this, Drew. I heard you just compare him to Khalil Mack. Are you saying he is going to be as good as Khalil Mack? Or?
I think he's built similar like him. They play like that linebacker position. I think he can cover the pass a little bit because like they had those schemes like he drops back. And I think he can do that. I think that kind of stuff too.
So are you saying that Jalen Hurts is in trouble because Ojulari is coming off the edge?
I don't know how the Eagles have a decent O-line.
All right, fair enough. And they take a corner. I did not watch Central Florida play one time this year. I have no idea if this guy's any good. But here's my question, guys. Last year, Giants hire a new coach. He's a special teams coordinator. He seems to be a big rah-rah guy, essentially. The players complained that they hit too much in practice, but they improved. Their defense got better. Their special teams got better. What seems to hold them back is their quarterback.
They beat the Seahawks with freaking Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Let's think about that.
Jones is not that good. And he is very inconsistent. There's times where you're like, oh my God, did you see that throw he made? And then other times you're like, why can't he complete a pass?
Or he fumbles.
He does fumble a lot.
Or he trips on the turf.
he did also do
You
that.
probably remember that.
I do remember
one
that,
long
yes.
run where he
Yeah.
just
He ran like 80 yards and then tripped over the 10-yard line and fell down.
he was running faster than what Lamar was. They had clock him running
Yeah.
faster than Lamar.
Yeah. Apparently he needed to slow down, take his time a little bit.
So how did the Giants get so far down?
They traded with the Bears.
Yeah,
Oh.
since the Eagles traded up and took the guy they wanted, they were at 11. So they traded back with the Bears because they didn't know what to do because they were planning on taking Smith. And so they traded back, and then the Bears moved up and took Fields, and then they were at 20. So what did you guys give up for that to move up, Drew? Do you remember?
I think it was a third.
Third?
Yeah.
Okay.
Third. Oh, I know, maybe a third. I think we flipped. I can't remember that.
I think wasn't there a first next
Yeah, I
year
said they
involved?
got the first from next year. I think a third, and then we got a fifth back.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
So I mean, it wasn't terrible.
Again, I'm not trying to make fun of Kadarius Toney because I think he is a quality receiver.
Yeah.
He's going to have a career in the NFL. He's going to be steady, I think. I just think there was let's look at the board here. Who went after Tony? Oh, well, they
Tay and then
Pi-
Farley.
And
Yeah.
the running backs, Najee and
those guys went.
the
There's
receiver from Minnesota.
a couple corners, defensive end, the Rousseau kid from Miami. There was some talent there. I'm not, I guess they really wanted a receiver. They're trying to make Jones, give him some
plenty of
help at
weapons.
least. Yeah,
They're, if he doesn't improve this year, it's on him, not them not having anybody.
yeah. I think he's gonna make or break year. I really do.
They got
Because this is what, year 3? I think this
Yeah.
is his third year. Yeah.
His second year with that Eli.
Yeah.
Well, last year they had a lot of injury though too. They were really like crapped off.
I mean-
Saquon got hurt, so that would be better with him back. So
Yeah.
it's not all the focus isn't on passing game. If they can run a little bit better, maybe that'll help him.
It's true. Well, does anybody else have anything on the Giants?
Yeah.
All right, now we move into a different territory.
Oh, boy.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh boy.
The first round pick number 10, they take Devonta Smith, receiver, Alabama, Heisman winner.
Oh, don't throw that in there or anything.
Yeah. Second round, Landon Dickerson, offensive line, Alabama. Third round, Milton Williams, defensive tackle, Louisiana Tech. They also had a 4th, 5th, 3 6, and a 7th.
Can I ask you a couple of quick questions? Since it's your team.
Yeah, sure.
About
go
the
for it.
Eagles. Is Leonard Dixon, is he going to be back to play? Because I know he tore his ACL towards the end of the college season. So will he be back? Do you know or anything?
From what I've heard recently, is that he will be back before the season, but not at the start of camp.
Okay, I was wondering because I knew he got hurt towards the end of the year. I didn't know if he was back or not.
I'll say if he's back, you got a good center.
Yeah, I was like, he's
Interior lineman
He's a good
there.
lineman. He's good.
He's very good.
He's got a lot of heart too. I think.
Yeah, he apparently at Alabama, he was a team captain. He was very well respected. I like that stuff. I'm not upset about taking him in the second round because if he was healthy, he would have been a clear first round draft pick.
I think he'll steal.
And even if he has to sit out this year, I hope he doesn't, but even if he does have to sit out this year, our line is good, but we're aging. So he's there to replace somebody. He's not there to necessarily step in and start right now. So I think he's going to replace Kelsey, the center.
Well, he was, I think, I mean, before the injury, I think he would have been the number 1 center in the draft.
Yeah, that's a good
I mean,
call.
he was really good at Alabama.
But this year, if he's able to come back and play, he's very valuable because at Alabama, he started games at all 5 spots on the line.
That's he's one of the utility linemen.
So
Right.
this year, we have 5 starting offensive linemen. Anybody goes down, we could bring him into play, which would be handy. And then Kelsey retires at the end of the season, and he could take over at center. And now you have your center of the future, hopefully. I think it was a good pick. I really like the Devontae Smith pick. I know what the worries are with Smith. He is very light.
That was my next question. How do you feel about him saying, "Oh, you don't need to lift. We're playing football." All that stuff he's been saying.
Well, I
what do
mean-
you think about that?
First off, I don't think he believes that. I think he has to say that because he's so skinny.
I'm bigger than him.
I know.
I'm 2 inches taller and 15 pounds heavier, and look at me.
I know. Hey, I'm heavier than he is, and he's taller than me. And they actually, I was watching the rookie camp yesterday, and he definitely looks really damn skinny out
They're
there.
skinny in college when compared to some of these.
Yeah, I would hope that being on a professional sports team, we can put some weight on him. I don't think he's ever going to be big though.
No,
I just don't think he has the frame for it. He's never going to be big. But regardless of how big he is, he's an upgrade over what we had. Old ass Alshon Jeffrey.
who got hurt?
Yeah,
Very old Deshaun Jackson.
and never played Deshaun Jackson. And Deshaun Jackson holds a special place in my heart as an Eagles fan. But the last 2 years, he's played 3 games. He's just never on the field. So I mean, this is clearly an upgrade as long as he plays football. Which the other thing is too is yes, he's light. Yes, he's skinny. But that being said, we're seeing smaller and smaller people at every position because the game's not as physical. And first ballot Hall of Fame, Marvin Harrison weighed 170 pounds. We've seen it before. It's just not a ton of guys.
Well, I mean, you got Cole Beasley and you got Edelman.
I mean, those guys are light, but they're really, really short. Like
Well,
they're short and stocky. So like at 180 for them, they're a lot bigger than him.
Well, he's
6
foot 170. I mean, he's
Right,
not too
right.
tall.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's huge, but I mean Julian Edelman was like 5'9". You know,
Yeah.
so like those guys are shorter and weigh as much or a little bit more. There's more meat on those bones, is what I'm saying, because they're shorter than he is. Again, I'm not trying to bash him. I think he's going to be fine.
I think he's gonna be good. I'm not saying that he's gonna be a bust. I think he's done good, like staying away from big hits and stuff.
I mean, he played in the SEC, and
Yes.
they play serious
And he
football.
played
Yeah.
what, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
And he played against all the other big schools from other conferences, Ohio State, Clemson.
He made some amazing catches.
He can-
I saw him go up in the end zone with
Jump
one
up.
hand and bring down a ball, and they said it was like he caught the ball at like 10 feet 6, 10 feet 9,
Yeah.
something like
He
that,
can
and
jump.
brings it down for touchdown. And I liked him from the time he was like a sophomore.
Yeah.
Drew and I were watching, and that's back when they had a couple of the
They're
guys.
talking
That,
about Ruggs and Judy and all them, and Dad
yeah,
said,
Dad says, no, I'd rather have Smith.
Yeah, I remember
And
we were watching one of the games. He said Smith's the real one out there. And I was
so
like,
I think you got a really good player there. I mean, I've always liked him.
They've been on one of my Eagles podcasts I listen to. They've been comparing him to Kevin Durant, and like as far as like coming out being real skinny, everybody's saying, "Oh, he can't play; he's too skinny." Look at him; he can't even bench the thing at the combines, so on and so forth. And Kevin Durant's been really good, so they've been calling him the Slim Reaper.
Okay.
So
It works.
I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good.
He caught the touchdown in overtime against Georgia.
yeah. And in true Eagles form, we all went to the other side of the ball and took a defensive tackle. The Eagles are one of the teams that build through the lines on both sides of the ball. Our defensive line has been filthy for years and years. It's what we rode to a Super Bowl a couple years ago. So taking another defensive tackle didn't surprise me, even though I really wanted us to take a corner earlier in the draft because our corners have been terrible. We have Darius Slay now, but on the other side, it's like I don't even know. Then we took a corner in the 4th, but who knows? But I'll say this: I was very happy with the Eagles draft. I think we did a good job. It's not overly flat outside the first round. It's not overly flashy, offensive line, defensive line, stuff like that. But I do believe in building to the lines, and I think we got some good players, some good talent, and I think I'm not a huge Jalen Hurts believer. I think we've talked about that before. But when you decide somebody's your quarterback, I believe you give them the best opportunity you can, and I believe this helps him do that. You get him another good offensive lineman. You get him a number one option at receiver.
That he's played with before.
Yeah, that he's played with before. Yeah.
So, there's some familiarity there. It's been a while, but they did.
So
Wow.
I like to draft.
On this day, Alex Holtz is a Jalen Hurts supporter.
No.
Mark it in the
I
calendar.
did not say that.
Marking it down.
No, you're not.
supporting the talent with more talent. I'm
No.
marking it down.
Jalen.
Jalen.
And next year in the draft, the Eagles will take a damn quarterback.
Let's see who will probably have a quarterback.
I don't even know.
Yeah.
That's too long away, Drew. I'm not that guy.
No, literally,
I'm not Todd McShay. I'm not
It's-
putting on my too early mock.
No, literally, as soon as the national championship's over in college, ESPN goes, da-da-da-da-da-da, Alabama wins, and here's the number one team for next year.
Right.
What?
Does anybody else have any Eagles things before we move on to Washington?
No.
All right, so I want to say this before we move on to Washington. I apologize ahead of time because at some point I'm going to call them the Redskins, not the football
Is
team.
there any more update on what their name's going to be, or are they just going to be the football?
I think there's going to be a football team.
Oh.
That's cool with me. I'm down with that. They don't need a team name.
Whatever. It's so stupid. But anyway, the Washington football team in the first round, pick 19, drafted Jamin Davis, linebacker, Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
In the second round, they drafted Samuel Cosme, tackle, Texas. Third round, Benjamin St. Justy, cornerback, Minnesota. Also in the third round, Diami Brown, wide receiver, North Carolina. They also had a 4th, 5th, 6th, and 3 7ths.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my question. Washington had defense last year was ridiculous, and their front was the best in football. I understand of like not letting your team sit on its laurels, but why go linebacker? Why not try and get something on the other side of the ball to make your offense not like, the worst in the league?
I thought they might take or receiver.
Well, a lot of the quarterbacks were gone at that point, but I thought offensive line, receiver, anything.
Do they have a tight end?
Well, no, I don't think so.
I don't know really the tight end besides Pitts.
Yeah, it was a weaker tight end draft outside of Pitts. It really was. They did go offensive tackle in the second round, and they did take a receiver in the third round. But I was a little surprised they went linebacker in the first round.
Yeah, you're reading those names off. I wasn't recognizing.
I don't really recognize
most of those guys. And their first round pick, I saw Kentucky play at least once this year.
Kentucky play,
I don't remember him.
I don't remember his exact name.
I'm not saying he's not good, but he didn't really stand out as something special. I'm not sure where they're going with their draft.
And Kentucky is more of a basketball school, so it's kind of confusing why they would go straight Kentucky for a football player.
I mean, Kentucky hits on some guys at times, but I really don't. I mean, usually, if Kentucky's got a really good guy, you know about it.
Yeah.
Because he's. Like I said, I usually see them play Mizzou. I see them play Georgia. I don't remember this guy. I don't know. Maybe I just missed
in the
it.
draft. I remember that cornerback.
Yeah, I remember the corner.
I remember the
about.
corner. I don't remember the linebacker too much.
So,
I remember the really big defensive tackle.
Yeah.
He was slow, but he was so.
Well, I'll say this, guys. Rivera, their head coach, seems to be a very good defensive coach. So if he likes this guy at linebacker, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And he's really been turning this defense at least around a lot. And then they went out and drafted an offensive tackle, which they just really need. They do need offensive line help, so I say good on them. But what are we doing on the offensive side of the football? I mean, I guess they signed Fitzmagic, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's going to be the Fitzmagic show and the
Chad
defense.
Yeah. So, and
Oh my God!
look at the draft board. The really good tackle from Virginia Tech, that Darashaw, went just 4 places past for Washington draft. The Giants took Tony. The next, of course, that might have been a bit of a reach, but there were some other guys there.
Yeah,
that could have helped the offense.
Yeah.
Maybe set it up for a future quarterback.
Yeah.
Here's my thing. Fitzmagic has had some success, at least in spurts. But Fitzmagic is the definition of a gunslinger. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to make mistakes. He's also going to make some really, really fantastic plays where you go, how in the hell did he do that? But he's also going to have a game in there every couple of games where he throws 3 or 4 picks.
Yep.
Is Rivera going to be able to take that? Because if you have a great defense, you don't want mistakes on offense. You want to let your defense eat and then let them rest.
That's the problem with my Bears. They eat and then they get full.
Yeah.
And then they keep eating and it don't work.
Mm-hmm.
But Rivera also had Cam Newton, so I mean he's got patience.
Well, that's true. that's true.
Good point, right?
That's true. Think about that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But Washington won our division last year, so I'm not doubting they can do it again. I don't think the Eagles are going to win the division. I definitely don't think the Giants are going to win the division. I think it's between the Redskins and the Cowboys.
Yeah, well, if they're healthy and they're not much drama.
That's true too. So we'll see. Anybody else got anything on Washington?
Nope.
All right, now we move into the NFC North,
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah.
and the first team is
The Bears.
Drew's Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
For the first round, 11th pick, they select quarterback from Ohio State, Justin Fields.
He also went to Georgia.
And then second round, Tevin Jenkins, tackle, Oklahoma State. They had no third and no fourth. They had a fifth,
Took a tackle.
3 6, and a seventh.
They took a tackle in the fifth. They took a receiver, running back, corner in the sixth, and then took a D tackle in the seventh.
You are correct, sir. So, this was one of the bigger moves of the draft. The Bears trading up to take Justin Fields. How did that make you feel, Drew?
I liked it. They didn't reach too far like they did last time. I think Justin Fields has a lot more experience than what Mitch did coming out.
Well, I think that's just a fact.
And they didn't, just looking at their college comparison, this is much better, and we got him at 11, not 3. I mean, we did have to give up another first rounder next year, but I think he'll be all right.
Who needs first rounders?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, come on now. We're
Clearly
getting
you're a
bothered
Rams
about 'em.
fan.
Um,
But here's my question to you. This season, because you guys are clearly in win now mode because of your defense. This season, 2021, is he an upgrade over Mitchell Trubisky?
yes, I think so. I think he is.
Why?
I think he can. I think he has a little bit more experience coming straight out of it. I think he's not going to start right away. I think he's gonna have good quarterbacks sit behind. He's not gonna have freaking Mike Glennon. He's gonna have Nick Foles and Andy Dalton, who've been around, helping a little bit.
The Red Rifle getting props from Drew.
I don't want him to start week 1. I don't want him his first start to be against freaking Aaron Donald and that chaos.
Oh, that's who you guys play week 1?
Yeah, Sunday Night Football. Rams versus Bears.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't want him to start them, but I think he's an upgrade. They're both mobile. I think Fields is a little bit better than him. I'm not saying it's like a huge gap, but I think he is a little bit better. Old Mitch.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I think Fields is just slightly an upgrade immediately.
He does have his errors with accuracy and ball. I've seen when I'm trying to find the word.
He has issues with his throwing motion, and it causes him to sail balls at times.
That's it.
And on top of that,
He's coming off a little bit of it.
apparently, essentially, Mitch's best attribute was his athleticism, being able to run around, and Fields is a superior athlete. So he's better than Mitch at Mitch's best quality, and I think he's probably just as good at throwing the ball as Mitch. So I think he's an upgrade.
Yeah, I think Justin's an upgrade over Trubisky. My only question is he going to fit the coach's system, or is the coach finally going to change? Because that was the big problem he had with Mitch, was he kept trying to force him into another system, and then when he let him do what he was good at, they won a little bit.
Things got better.
Yeah. And he and Fields they're both athletic quarterbacks that want to move around. Is that your coach's system? Is he going to adapt
I
finally?
think he's going to change a little bit finally. And there's some tests, the quarterback stake, whatever.
Wonderlic?
Yeah. He scored the highest. He scored higher than Mahomes and all of them.
But you know who has the highest score in the Wonderlic?
Fitzmagic.
Perfect score.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Fitzmagic came out of Harvard. That's why the Rams
I
drafted
remember
him.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why the Rams drafted him.
Yeah, perfect score.
Our coach at the time fell in love with that perfect score on the Wonderlic and drafted him.
Yeah, Fields is higher than some of Mahomes and all that. I think. All I hear, he wants to be there and he wants to play and stuff. It's not like he's like, oh, really? I got drafted. I think he wants to be there and he's trying. I think Nagy and them, and I think Ryan Pace finally made a good decision here. Drafting Fields.
Well, I think Pace and Nagy's jobs are on the line.
Yeah, I think they finally said, if we don't do something now, it's
I think you're right. I think they needed to make this move or they were out. So why not take a gamble?
And then they immediately went out and got an offensive lineman to help protect him. Because y'all's offensive line's been bad for a couple
traded up
seasons
again
now.
in the second round with the Panthers. And we cut Leno, the junior.
Yeah, he just signed with somebody. I seen that
Signed
yesterday.
with- I'm not sure, but we just cut him, so we needed. So he'll probably start week 1. Then we draft another tackle out of Mizzou in the 5th round.
Well, I wish your I wish your Bears well, Drew.
I think we have a chance of winning the division. Depending on what the Packers do.
Yeah, it depends on
I'm not too worried
Rodgers.
with Lions anymore since Jared Goff's there. I talked about that in the Matthew Stafford trade. I wasn't worried about it. Vikings, I think they could do maybe some damage with Thielen and Cook and Jefferson. It all depends on how Cousins plays and their defense if they're healthy.
And Cook's health.
Yeah.
Cook is in and out of the lineup a lot too.
Yeah, so I think that is all going to depend. If Rodgers is there, that will be close. If he's not, then the Bears have a pretty good chance, I think.
Well, I wish you well other than the first week.
Yeah.
Ray, you got anything to add before we move on?
I think if you don't start Justin Fields week 1, you're missing out on an opportunity.
Fair enough.
Just saying, because you got Super Bowl winning quarterback, got another quarterback that has nothing else to prove. You have 2 mentors on the bench. If you don't shove Justin Fields in there and make some mistakes, you're missing out.
Well, I mean, the other two are going to make mistakes too. It's not like the Red Rifle and Nick Foles don't go out there and throw the ball around.
That's what
So-
I'm saying. If you don't
at
shove
least-
the rookie in there and have the mentors help him out, then you're missing out on an
Fields
opportunity.
move over there.
Oh, Foles is
Yeah.
a statue. Foles ain't moving around.
No, I noticed that he don't move.
All right, now we move on to the kneecap-biting Detroit Lions.
He's had 6 coaches while I've been alive.
No,
That I
probably
can
more-
remember.
Probably more than that. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I like Detroit's draft.
I like that. The
Yeah.
first round was great.
And the first round, pick 7, they took Penei Sewell, tackle, Oregon. Second round, excuse me on the name, Levi Onwuzurike, defensive tackle, Washington. Third round, Aleem McNeil, defensive tackle, NC State. Also third round, Ifatu Melifonwu, cornerback, Syracuse. 6'3", 205. They went out and got offensive line, 2 defensive line, and a huge corner. He promised physical football, and I think he just showed you he was telling the truth. We're going to come out and play physical football.
Yep. They might be complaining about hitting too much.
I agree with Drew. I'm not a golf fan. I have no faith in golf. But if this guy comes out there and says, hey, we're going to run the ball down your throat, we're going to play action, we're going to play good defense, we're going to hit, we're going to play physical, they'll be serviceable.
DeAndre Swift probably get a bunch of carries. Adrian Peterson's still there.
I have no idea.
Or...
We don't need to worry about Adrian Peterson anymore.
Kerryon Johnson signed with the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm gonna say they released him. I know DeAndre Swift's there.
So I don't know that I have much more to say about the Lions, but he seems to be fulfilling his prophecy of we're going to play physical football, and he went out and drafted a bunch of linemen. So, and the best offensive lineman in the draft.
It's
So-
good. So that's a good start.
But I mean, we can look back at the old Bad Boy Pistons. They played some physical basketball, but other people got in the gym, worked out, and Michael Jordan whooped their ass.
Well, that's true, but they got 2 championships first.
No, that's true.
The NFL is not gonna look.
But-
No, I don't think so either, but I just think it's the start of them building to the Lions, really.
Yeah, it's a start. Yeah, it's a nice start.
All right. The Green Bay Packers.
Yep. First guy you're about to say who stood. He had at least 3 pick sixes.
I'll give you listeners one guess where this guy plays college football.
I'm just saying
Oh
he had at
my
least 3
God.
pick sixes. Arkansas, Florida, and Mizzou. I think it was the
I'll
other
say
one.
probably
I
Mizzou.
think it was Mizzou.
First round, pick number 29, Eric Stokes, cornerback. You guessed it, Georgia.
How many picks are from Georgia in this damn draft?
Georgia's good,
Holy
right?
shit.
Oh, the SEC set a record.
They had like 67
And,
players.
I mean, Alabama set a record, I think, for first round?
Yeah.
And the SEC set a record for draft picks. I mean,
Holy
they
shit.
kicked.
Second round, Josh Myers, center, Ohio State. Another good pick. Third round, Amari Rogers, receiver, Clemson. Fuck Aaron Rodgers.
I think the Packers had a good draft.
Hallelujah, Alex. I hate that man.
It just
Man.
comes down to who's playing QB.
How many times Aaron Rodgers made this little kid cry over here? 'Cause
Wow, how the
freaking
tables have turned all of a sudden on this, face of a player.
Aaron Rodgers closes his eyes, throws it up, and somehow freaking Jordy Nelson or Greg Jennings, Devontae Adams is down there wide open.
I'm going to paint you listeners a picture. Drew is sitting slouched in his chair with his arms crossed on his chest with the biggest frown on his face like, I hate Aaron Rodgers. He threw a ball up like a prayer and Jordan Nelson came down with it. My
Yeah,
Bears
freaking Chris
lost.
Conley was playing around out of nowhere. It's freaking 16 seconds left. 4th and 7, and we're 60 yards away from the end zone, and we're not playing cover 4. Like, what are we doing? Like Lovie Smith, I'm 8 years old, and we're supposed to be playing cover 4. What are we doing? But no. And then, NFC Championship, freaking Jay Cutler throws it to BJ Raji. Freaking, they call him the freezer, and they make fun of us Bears fans for a whole year because freaking Jay Cutler throws it to BJ Raji.
The defensive tackle.
And I cry again.
I'm crying right now with laughter.
Oh my goodness. There's a lot of hate in your heart for these.
Drew has a lot of history with the Packers.
He's
Oh,
tortured me
man.
for years. I'm over it. And if Jordan Love is anything close to Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, I'm over. I'm done with the Packers.
Oh, shit.
All right, so here's the deal with the Packers, guys. Aaron Rodgers says he's not going to play for them anymore. Even if they don't trade him, he's going to retire or whatever. I think they had a good draft. They went out and got a good corner. Maybe not the best, like Horn or Surtain, but he's a good corner. They went out and got a good young center out of Ohio State. And then they went out and took a decent receiver out of Clemson. My thing to Aaron Rodgers is the grass ain't always greener, dude. You've been a perennial NFC power for pretty much your entire career. The only years you weren't was because you were hurt and didn't play. And you have, at the bare minimum, a top 3 receiver in football. You have a really good running back. You have a very good offensive line.
We've had a top 10 line for years.
Yeah. This is all over you not having more weapons. Like, bro, you're being a little bitch. And I'll be honest with you guys. I don't know what the national media is talking about. What leverage do they speak of? If he retires, he has to pay back to the Packers $22 million. Plus, he ends his football career.
Just won the MVP.
Like, yeah, it'll hurt the Packers if their quarterback leaves, obviously. You don't think that's going to hurt Aaron Rodgers? Ending your career prematurely and paying them back $22 million? I'm sure he has it. But who wants to give up $22 million?
I just
Nobody
give it
wants
up.
to give
Give
up that.
it back.
Yeah. Give it back while losing your job.
Yeah.
Because he can go host Jeopardy if he wants. They're not paying him his football salary. So, I guess my thing is yes, he could go to a better team. Yeah. But most of those teams already have quarterbacks. It's not like he's going to the Chiefs.
Right.
He could go to the 49ers. That's a pretty good situation.
Broncos.
But at the same time, you get a better overall receiving core in those places. But you don't have Adams, who is head and shoulders better than all the receivers in those places.
Oh, yeah.
You just have the second receiver and the third receiver are better than the second and third receivers in Green Bay. I just don't. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers' problem is, and if he decides to come back, I feel like he has some explaining to do because essentially he told his teammates, "You guys aren't good enough for my time. You guys are wasting my career because you guys aren't good enough." That's a bad look if you're trying to come if you ever do decide to come back into that locker room,
And it's not like the Packers had terrible defense either.
right?
So they have that Gerald Alexander cornerback. He's pretty good.
He
Adrian
is.
Amos, he's a good safety. That backside corner they just drafted for coverage there. Their front four is good with Smith brothers and the other big dude. I can't think of his name now. I thought their defense was good.
They have a serviceable defense. It's not spectacular, but they have some good players.
It's not some trash defense. Like
Right. And part of the problem is though, Aaron Rodgers, is you have one of the biggest contracts in NFL history, so they're not going to have the whole team loaded around you. Like, it's just financially not possible. So I don't know. I don't want to make this all about Aaron Rodgers, but I think Aaron Rodgers is being a little bitch.
I think the whole big deal is he got embarrassed by old ass Brady, and now he's going to be a drama queen about the whole situation.
That very well could be, right?
He could be. Backup Ray couldn't hold his word when he said, "You can give me an NFC Championship in Lambeau, I'll win."
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Well, not only that, but Rodgers played like shit in that game.
Yeah.
Win this best
Yeah.
game.
So, yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah, let's go on.
The Minnesota Vikings. First round, pick number 23, Christian Darrisaw, tackle, Virginia Tech. No second round pick. But they have 4 third round picks.
Wow.
Third round, Kellen Mond, QB, Texas A&M, who I really like.
Yeah, he's tough.
Third round, Chaz Surratt, linebacker, North Carolina. Third round, Wyatt Davis, guard, Ohio State. Third round, Patrick Jones II, defensive end, Pittsburgh. Then they had 3 fourth-round picks,
Wow.
2 fifth-round picks, and a sixth-round pick. So the middle of the draft, they had a boatload of picks.
Yeah.
4 thirds, 3 fourths, and 2 fifths. That's a lot of middle of the draft capital.
And those third rounders were good. There's some good
Yeah.
players
I like
there.
that Kelly.
Absolutely.
I like that Kelly Mond out of Texas.
Yeah.
I like Mond. Surratt's solid. Davis is solid. I don't know much about the kid out of Pittsburgh. Patrick Jones. I don't know defensive end there. I don't know much about him. I didn't watch Pittsburgh play this year. But
What do you like about the quarterback?
well, I think first off, he's got all the tools. I know I don't want to sound like a broken record. He's got a very strong arm. He made a lot of plays.
He can move around a little bit. Kirk can.
Oh, he can run around and do things. He's got a little bit of size on him, and I just thought when he was given the opportunity to sit in the pocket and look like a quarterback, he did really well. I thought he did well. I just didn't think Texas A&M gave him the opportunity often.
Let's say the only game they lost last year was to Alabama. They beat everybody else.
Yeah, and it was on him. He was slinging it. They weren't running the ball.
Yeah.
He was out there slinging.
No, I thought he looked good in the games I saw in him play.
Say they beat Florida, who was supposed to be really good with Trask, Pitts, and all them. And Cody. They beat them. Like I said, they're only lost to Alabama.
Truthfully, I thought they had a better case to be in the
Yeah,
playoff
for
than.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So patience and versatility is what he's got.
He's a good athlete, strong arm.
He's got a killer arm. He's got a real big arm.
I've seen a couple years ago, A&M had a shootout game where he just kept scoring and scoring
Yeah,
and
it was
scoring.
74-72 against
And,
LSU.
I mean, like Alex said, it's on him. It's Jimbo Fisher, the
Yeah.
old Florida State coach, is down there, and he he and this guy clicked. And Mon can play.
Okay.
I think teams overlooked him, and
I do too.
I said it before the draft. I thought actually I had Mond before I had Fields and my list of quarterbacks.
Wow. Okay.
The Vikings did what you expect out of a Zimmer team. They went out and got 2 offensive linemen. They got a defensive lineman and a linebacker.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Now they threw a quarterback in there, which I think he will sit behind Kirk Cousins this year because this is Kirk Cousins' last year of his contract, and next year they're going to see what he's got.
Right, and it's a perfect situation for him.
Yeah, and let Kirk Cousins walk.
He's got Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson.
He's got weapons, that's for sure.
Yeah, and an
for sure.
offensive line. He's got a young tackle to grow with.
A tackle and a guard.
Dalvin Cook, if he can stay healthy.
Yeah, and a good running game. And with Zimmer, he doesn't ask you to do a ton as a quarterback. He's not like it's not this is a wide open offense where you go out there and sling the ball 50 times.
Right.
He wants you to turn around and hand the ball off and play action quarterback. So we'll see. Yeah. But I thought the Vikings did a good job.
I thought they did too.
NFC South, Atlanta Falcons.
Oh shit.
First round, pick 4, Kyle Pitts, beast tight end, Florida.
Nasty.
Second round, Richie Grant, safety, UCF. Third round, Jalen Mayfield, offensive lineman, Michigan. They also had 2 fourths, 3 fifths, a 6th, no 7th. I think Atlanta is lost.
A little bit, yeah.
I think they're kind of rebuilding, kind of playing their veterans, retooling, but losing talent. Like, I don't know where they're at in this, what they're doing with their team. Their defense is awful. And they just lost one of their best defenders in Keanu Neal. And then they're like, hey, we've got Matt Ryan still, we've got Julio Jones still, and we've got Calvin Ridley. So we've got all these weapons. Let's draft the best weapon in the draft, Kyle Pitts as well. So now we have all these weapons with an aging quarterback. We lost our best offensive lineman, and our defense is hot garbage. So essentially they're like, hey, Matt Ryan, go outscore everybody with all these weapons.
I really like Kyle Pitts. I think he's a great player. But I agree with you. They their best move here to me was Jerry Jones.
Trade back. Yeah.
You know, call Jerry and say, hey, you want Kyle? Cough it up.
2 first rounders, 2 seconds.
Get some draft picks out of him. Work on some other issues.
I agree. You go out, you trade back with the Cowboys. You get this year, their 10th pick for this year, the Cowboys. You ask for a first next year. You ask for a couple thirds or whatever, and you try and retool.
Yeah, you can go a long ways. A couple of third rounders, a first this year and a first next year.
Well, aren't they trying to ship Julio out the door too?
Yeah, they talked about it.
I mean, there was rumors around the draft about it. I don't know. I mean, he makes like $22 million this year.
Rams would have traded for him if we had any first rounders left.
Oh man, the
I just
Rams
feel
in
like
their first.
it just sounds like they're trying to stack the offense for no reason.
Well, I think they decided we can't get the defense right. We just brought in another offensive head coach, so let's just load the offense up and see if we can outscore everybody, like the greatest show on turf or something.
Well, I mean, that's what like Kansas City pretty much is because their defense wasn't the greatest either.
That's
I
true.
got a bold prediction.
What's that?
The Falcons are going to be the 7th seed.
Oh my
NFC.
god!
They're
gonna
going to make the playoffs, huh?
They're going to score enough points to make it.
Oh man!
I think they can.
Let's put that on the board.
Spoken as a true quarterback. Go offense.
Hey, by the way, I don't know where all this came from. I don't know why he is like the litmus test, but Matt Ryan has become severely underrated. Like the national media bags on this man all
They do.
the
They're always
time.
on him.
This man, he's like top 10 all time in passing yards.
Yeah, Matt Ryan is
He's
a
got
shit.
an MVP. He made it to a Super Bowl. Yes, they lost, but How many of us can say we haven't lost the Patriots in the Super Bowl or the
No.
playoffs? Everybody in this room.
Not Drew.
Yeah, not Drew. Rex Grossman couldn't make it there, I guess. But my McNabb's Eagles lost to him. They cheated, but we lost to them. And Warner and the Rams lost to him in
They
cheating
cheated,
fashion.
but we-
Yeah. The Colts obviously have plenty of famous battles with the Patriots.
But we beat the Bears, so we don't care.
Oh, that's good. And all I gotta say is double doink.
You need some ointment over there? I'll get you a Band-Aid.
Oh, you mean a bitch sticker?
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I mean, on a serious note, you got Peyton, you got Brady, you got Breeze, you got Matt Ryan. I mean, class act of quarterbacks right there. And you're just loading up the offense, and you can't help the defense at all. That's not going to help the team at all.
I don't know what the plan is. I mean, I guess it's to outscore everybody and see what happens. And I'm not saying they can't do it because I'm telling you right now, I don't think there's a single defense in the NFL that can guard those three guys. When they're on the field,
I don't
that's
see how
true.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Ridley, Jones, and Pitts. I mean, how do you stop that?
Yeah,
Your only hope is to get to Ryan immediately.
yeah, absolutely.
We gotta get
Yeah.
to Ryan first.
Yeah, you got to get to him
I
right
don't know
now.
about running game.
Yeah, I don't even know who the running back is anymore. Freeman and Coleman are
Todd
both
Gurley's
gone.
still there?
No, Gurley is only a 1 year deal.
Yeah, I'll say Todd wouldn't.
Yeah.
That knee's not doing it.
Yeah, who knows? We got anything else about the Falcons?
Mm.
All right, the Carolina Panthers.
Good.
First round, pick number 8, J.C. Horn, cornerback, South Carolina. Love that. Second round, Terrence Marshall Jr., receiver, LSU. Third round, Brady Christensen, tackle, BYU. Third round, Tommy Trimble, tight end, Notre Dame. They also had a 4th, 2 5ths, 2 6, or 3 6, and a 7th. The Panthers also traded for Sam Darnold, as we spoke earlier in the AFC episode. They'd already brought in a quarterback, so they decided to work on the rest of the team, and they got arguably maybe the best corner in the draft, either first or second. They went out and got a receiver and a tight end and an offensive tackle.
I think they did well. The corner is definitely good.
Horn's a beast.
Yeah,
I mean, he is really tough. I think I don't know the tight end from Notre Dame, but the other guys were solid players, I thought.
Yeah, I don't know the tight
I
end
that
either.
receiver from LSU because I watched the Mizzou LSU
Yes.
game. He had like 4 touchdowns.
Oh,
for, like,
yeah, he lit 'em
200
up.
yards.
Marshall was
He was
good.
third receiver with Jefferson, Jamar Chase, when Joe Burrow and all them won that championship run. He was the third one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's big.
Yeah, he's the
Yeah,
big one.
he's a good
Yeah.
receiver.
Yep. And then they went out and got the guy that protected
Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson's blind side.
BYU, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, I think Carolina did a good job. That rule, that coach, everywhere he's been a winner. He turns programs around in college.
He
And
turned Baylor around.
now
Well,
he's
it's
trying to turn
Matt
this around.
Rule and what's the offensive coordinator's name? His name like Brady or something.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. What I'm saying is, I think they got a couple of good minds there
Yes,
on
I
the coaching
think they
staff.
do. I mean, they're progressive guys that are going out and trying to get it done.
Again, though, is their defense gonna be worth a shit?
No question.
Joe Brady.
Joe Brady. There you go. I knew it was something Brady. Yeah, I think they did all right for themselves. It never hurts to get a shutdown corner, especially in today's NFL.
The other team's got at least one stud receiver.
Yep. And you go out and get a weapon for your newly acquired quarterback and a guy to protect your newly acquired quarterback. So I think they're making some good decisions in Carolina.
At least they're giving Darnold a fair shot.
Yeah.
Give him a chance to succeed.
This will be the most talented team he's ever played on in the
Yeah.
pros. For sure.
Doesn't he already have Debo Samuel and Robbie Anderson?
Now, Debo Samuel,
Not Debo.
say plays for the
Curtis
49ers. Curtis Samuel, and McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah, I forgot Christian McCaffrey's hurt.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey. So He's got some weapons around him as long as they can stay healthy. I mean, McCaffrey was out pretty much all year last year. But I think this is the best opportunity he's had in his whole career, like we just said. Anybody else got anything on the Panthers?
I'm going to be glad to see Sam Darnold actually do good this year. Except for the last year with the Jets where he just got shit on the whole time. I think the Panthers actually, setting up to, make him succeed. So it's going to be nice to see him.
I'm not going to lie. I'm rooting for Sam Darnold.
Me too.
I liked him
really
coming
am.
out of the draft. I liked him at USC. I thought he was going to be good. And he got abused in New York.
Oh, yeah.
And he had some stupid luck, too. Who catches mono and misses half the season? That's crazy. All right. The New Orleans Saints. For the first time, pretty much in my lifetime, the breezeless New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, Drew Brees has been there my whole life.
He hasn't been there my whole life. Aaron Brooks. Is his name Aaron? Brooks was the quarterback when I was a kid. Throwing to Dante Stallworth Jr. and stuff. Yeah.
The quarterback I know is Archie Manning.
Yeah, that was before me.
I know. Drew Brees.
So, first pick, or 28th pick, first round, Peyton Turner, defensive end, Houston. Second round, Pete Warner, linebacker, Ohio State. Third round, Paulson Adebo, cornerback, Stanford. They also had a fourth, a sixth, and a seventh. Here's the first time I'm going to say, I don't think the Saints had a very good draft.
I don't really know most of them.
I thought their first round pick was a reach. I think they drafted purely based on need because they lost two defensive ends in free agency. And instead of taking a player of better value there that maybe not at a position of quite as much need, they did get a decent linebacker in the second round. But I feel like the Saints either draft or sign a free agent linebacker every year, and they can never, ever get it right. So I just have so little faith they'll actually turn him into a decent NFL player. And then I don't know anything about this kid from Stanford. I didn't watch Stanford play at all this year. I don't know anything about him.
The Saints have so many problems. Like who's going to be their QB, and they're $90 million over the salary cap.
Well, here's my thing. Well, they're under the salary cap now because the deadline's passed for them to get under. Because we were like $70 million over the cap, and the cap is a joke in the NFL. But that being said, if one of you believes this in this room, I'm sorry. But anybody that believes Taysom Hill should be the quarterback, you've not watched him play.
No, I want to be Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston is the more talented quarterback.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think it's even close. Now, is Jameis make mistakes? Does Jameis throw too many picks? 100%.
We haven't seen him play since that year. Maybe
Right.
He's changed.
But here's my other thing, too. Every single person, including the great Tom Brady, that plays an Arians system, their interceptions go up. So you take a guy that's young and a little bit interception prone already, he threw a shitload of interceptions. By the way, guys, he also threw for 5,000 yards and 30-some like 32 or 33 touchdowns. It's not like he went out there and threw 30 picks and was dog shit.
Yeah.
He was just slinging the ball all over the yard, and you were getting the good and the bad.
Didn't they go like 8-8 or 7-9? It's not like they were.
Yeah, they were around 500.
Like
I'm just saying Taysom Hill's not an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. Didn't the Saints also draft a quarterback late?
They took him in the fourth round.
Yeah, who was that? That was some running quarterback. Because Drew and I were talking about this. We think he's going to step into the Taysom Hill role, and that Peyton may try to play Hill.
I can't think
Dude,
of who it is.
They're paying Hill like $16 million this year.
I know.
They're going to have to pay him eventually.
But I think
play him eventually.
I think they drafted Taysom Hill's replacement in that.
As soon as I hear his name, I'll know who
Yeah,
it is.
I'm trying to think who it was, but
It's the quarterback from Notre Dame.
Ian
Book.
Yeah. Right, and he scrambles around, he runs, he throws, he's a tough guy. He's Taysom Hill. And I think that he drafted himself another one because I think he's planning on playing Hill. But I'm like you. I think, Winston's got the more talent.
Why do they keep bringing Winston back if they're not going to play him?
Right.
Last year he was cheap. They signed him for like $2 million. So him sitting is like, I don't agree with it, but okay, fine. But this year you're paying him.
Right.
So sitting him's odd.
Yeah.
And by the way, the old adage, if you have two quarterbacks, you have none.
Right. Somebody's got to lead the team.
I'm just getting tired of seeing Alvin Kamara just get wasted and not winning the title because he's got more talent than it. Probably the whole team.
He is good, but I can't stand the guy. So,
Oh. Well, I'm sorry.
no, the Eagles and Saints have like beef. So,
Oh.
and Kamara like tweets about the Eagles all the time. They talk shit back and forth.
Oh.
Whatever. But anyway, anybody else got anything about the Saints?
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. First round, pick 32. Joe Tryon, outside linebacker, Washington. Second round, Kyle Trask, quarterback, Florida. Round 3, Robert Hainsey, tackle, Notre Dame. They also had a 4th, a 5th, and 2 7ths. They went out and got a pass rusher to go on the other side of, what's his name? The guy that had all the sacks.
Can't think.
I know you can tell we've been recording a while. We're starting
Yeah.
to forget everything.
It's escaping me.
I don't know. Their stud pass rusher. They went out and got a guy. Shaq Barrett. Thank you.
Thanks.
A stud pass rusher. They went out and got a guy to be on the other side of their stud pass rusher. They drafted Kyle Trask, I guess, to be the backup for a year or two and maybe try and take over when Brady leaves. But Brady seems to like use and abuse these guys and send them on their way. So I don't know. And another offensive lineman from Notre Dame, who does produce a lot of offensive linemen, but it's like the third one we've talked about tonight.
And I mean, they were in the Final Four, so they did have a good team this year. But I don't know that the offensive line was that good.
So, really, Tampa Bay is returning almost the exact same team. They re-signed everybody.
They returned all 22 starters, so everyone's back.
Wow. Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about the Bucs. They're really fucking good.
Nobody gets hurt.
Yeah.
That'd be a tragedy if Brady got hurt.
All right. Way to go, Ponce de Leon and the Fountain Youth in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. The NFC West. Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh, boy.
First round, pick 16. Zaven Collins, linebacker, Tulsa. Second round, Rondell Moore, receiver, Purdue. No third, 1/4, no fifth, 2/6, 2/7. The Arizona Cardinals is another team where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What's the plan? What you went out and got Kyler Murray. Seems to be a pretty good quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
They went out and traded for DeAndre Hopkins.
Awesome receiver.
Beast of a receiver. And they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to ignore the offensive line. And then all of a sudden, we're going to spend a bunch of money and sign J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
And now we're going to sign a linebacker and draft a little tiny receiver. Guys, Kyler is being assaulted on a nightly basis, and he's tiny. The Eagles beat the Cardinals last year, and it was because our defensive line was just walking through their line into the backfield on every play.
And they're playing in a division with Aaron Donald,
Yeah,
Bosa in San Francisco,
yeah.
and the Seahawks. And they got to play them all twice.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm Murray, I'm yelling at him, you got to protect me.
Now, the one thing they did do in the offseason is they traded for the Raiders center, who is good.
He is supposed to be good, yeah.
So they did get a center in a trade this offseason, which I'm assuming is why they don't have a third-round pick or a fourth-round or a fifth-round pick. I don't know which one they gave up. But yeah, they traded for the Raiders center. But at the same time, centers are important. I'm not trying to say they're not. But it's not like that's the most important spot on the line, or he's, so good that he's like, just going to turn the whole line around or something. It's one guy in the middle of the line.
With Kyler being mobile, he's going to be moving around.
Yep.
And he's short too, so he's like a hybrid of Doug Flutie / Drew Brees.
Yeah.
I mean, with his own little kind of flair. But I mean, you got to protect a guy. He can't just run around in the backfield, for the rest of his life.
Right.
You got to have somebody you can throw to. And so, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins can't be the only option.
Yeah, I think they're lost. I think their coach is in over his head, and I think they don't know what they're doing. I don't think they have a clear direction.
Well, they brought the coach in for Murray.
Yes.
And I'm like you. I think maybe he's in over his head in the total scheme of things.
Yep. And, I think he's another one of those guys that is like needs to be a coordinator and doesn't need to run a whole team. But anyway, now we get into the nitty gritty of the Los Angeles Rams for Uncle Doug.
Man.
All these draft picks. Yep.
Tons of them.
No first round draft pick forever. The 10th year in a row. Second round, Tutu Atwell, receiver, Louisville. Third round, Ernest Jones, linebacker, South Carolina. They had 3 fourth-round draft picks, a fifth-round pick, no sixth, and 3 seventh-rounders. Yeah.
Wow.
At one point, we had 3 third-rounders.
Oh.
And people kept taking who I thought we were going to draft, and we kept trading down and picking up fourth-rounders, fifth-rounders. Atwell, we needed somebody to stretch the field, and the kid can fly, and he's a good returner.
He is.
And we
he's
needed
also
both.
real light.
Yeah, he is. He's real small.
What? Well, they have him listed at 155. At his pro day, he weighed in at 146.
Yeah, he's
146.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
little.
It's like 30
He can fly, but
almost
he's
30
little.
pounds less than Devontae Smith, and he's
Yeah.
already.
So
You
we'll
could
see
blow
how
on
that.
this guy and he would go out of bounds.
Yeah,
Oh
we'll
my
see how he
God.
holds up.
Boy, Brock Schneider is getting close.
Yeah, no kidding. Shout out to Brock. How you doing,
Brock.
bud? He always listens to our cast. The other picks, the second rounder or the third rounder, the fourth rounders, pretty much we're replacing guys we lost in free agency.
Yeah.
Outside linebacker, corner, D-line. They got younger guys to take most of those guys' places. My main complaint as a Rams fan was I was hoping they'd get a little offensive line help. They went for some undrafted free agents. I thought maybe they could have grabbed somebody a little sooner. But since we spent the draft capital to get Stafford, I'd sure like to protect him.
Yeah. That's for sure.
Well, I'll say this, though. You guys don't have like a number one, but you guys have a lot of good receivers. Woods, Cup, what's his name, Robinson? You have a third one that's good.
You got Cup, Woods. You've got Everett. Or not Everett.
Everett's
Reynolds.
tight end. Right?
Reynolds.
Reynolds.
That's it,
it,
not
Reynolds.
Robinson.
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Yeah,
And
Everett
now-
left.
and
He's
now-
the tight end.
And now Atwell.
Right.
Like, you guys have a lot of good good receivers, just not a number one.
Right.
You guys have a lot of guys that that Stafford can spread the ball out to. But it's probably the best overall receiving core he's ever had.
Yeah, and our tight end is solid. Higbee's good.
Yeah.
And we lost Everett, who was the pass-catching tight end. Higbee does both. But they signed that kid. He's about 6'5", 225, 230. I think he's out of Central Florida. He was one of our fourth rounders. They had a lot of NFL teams were talking about converting to tight end. And they also signed a big kid from Notre Dame that's about 6'4", 6'5", to bring in a couple of big guys to help out. They're
Well,
also good special teams guys.
I will say this too, guys. The national media has been banging on Stafford quite a bit. And again, I think he's underrated.
Yeah.
He's played on a terrible franchise and hasn't won a lot. I'll give you that. This is the part that we forget, guys. And not us, but I mean like fans and media in general. Is do you think Brady wins all his Super Bowls playing for the fucking Detroit Lions?
Nope.
Like, guys, like, yes, he's not winning. He plays for the Lions.
Yeah.
And everybody, like, Jay Bruschi's like, he's a loser. He's never won anything. And I'm like, and anybody, you want to go sign with the Lions and try and win?
Teddy, go play for the Lions all those years.
Yeah.
See how many rings you've got.
Exactly. Like, there's a difference here, guys. It's not like the Lions are loaded with talent. Stafford is the reason they're not winning. It's Stafford's the only reason you watch the Lions on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. He's fun to
Yeah.
watch.
That's the only reason why I was nervous when we played the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Oh,
him or Megatron. You can't forget about Megatron.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I loved Megatron when he was in the league.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he's just not playing anymore. Yeah, obviously he was a beast. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Ray, Stafford's from Georgia. Another
Oh,
Georgia player.
Oh my God,
Georgia.
I thought you were gonna say
Georgia,
stud.
Georgia, Georgia.
All right. Anything else about your Rams?
No, I just hope it's a good season.
Yeah. Well, good luck. The San Francisco 49ers pick 3, first round. Trey Lance, quarterback, North Dakota State. Second round, Aaron Banks, guard, Notre Dame, another Notre Dame offensive lineman. Third round, Trey Sermon, running back, Ohio State. Also third round, Ambry Thomas, cornerback, Michigan. They had no fourth, 3 fifths, a sixth, and no seventh. I guess the big talking point here is Trey Lance. Not just that they took Trey Lance with the third pick, he's quarterback. But the fact that they still have Jimmy G on the roster and what the hell they're going to do with Trey Lance and Jimmy G. I mean, this has been carrying morning talk shows for weeks now. I guess I'll ask a different type of question here. If you were Lynch and Shanahan, what would you do with the quarterback situation? Start with you, Uncle Doug.
I like Trey Lance. I've seen North Dakota State play little. Started watching them more after Carson Wentz came out, and they won enough titles in a row that they became interesting, and they were actually out there where you could see them. Of course, he hasn't played all that much because their season, because of COVID, was cut off in the fall, and the kid has got a ton of talent. For me, you play Jimmy G and you bring this kid along. Because I think he's worth a shot. I'd play Jimmy G and try to bring him along behind him. Not put the pressure on him yet, let him get some experience.
Ray?
You know, I like to just throw him in there. Throw Trey Lance in there. Jimmy G's been hurt. He's shown that he can get somewhere, but I mean, he hasn't shown enough to where he can be consistent. And there's rumors where the Patriots might want him back. But that's not really, a big talking point. But throw the guy in there and show him what you got. Or, have him battle at training camp. Let him see, who's got the better shot. But, Trey Lance has got a little more athletics than Jimmy G's got. Jimmy G's got that Tom Brady style, because he was behind Tom Brady in New England. Mm-hmm. So he's got that style of play. So I like to try new stuff all the time. Throw Trey Lance in there. That's what I'd want.
Drew?
I'm not really too worried about the QB. I'm worried about the whole defense staying healthy so we can actually be decent. And obviously we want the quarterbacks, but 49ers, the whole team was hurt.
That's true.
Literally the whole team.
They had a ridiculous amount of injuries last year.
Like, and it wasn't. Some of them were just like torn ACLs, not like these little injuries that are coming out a couple weeks. They were like half the defense was out for the whole season. And
I think the same game, Bosa and one of the other defensive linemen both tore their ACLs like in the same game.
they were both gone, and Sherman got hurt. Just Jimmy G was off all year with different injuries. The receiving core was
Well, the
down.
whole receiving core caught COVID at one time, and they had to sign a bunch of guys from the grocery store to play receiver in one
Their
game.
running backs got hurt. All like 2 out of the 3 got hurt. And they were just a whole big mess.
I'm glad John Starks was available.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say keep Jimmy G for a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if probably Trey Lance started.
Well, I think I'm going to give a little bit of a non-answer, but I'm still answering the question. I think during training camp, you let them compete, and you see some stuff. If Trey Lance is out there and looks kind of lost, or it looks like he's not ready, then I'll side with Doug and say, hey, we got to start Jimmy G and let this kid get some more practice reps and learn. But if Trey Lance, if the competition is close, I'm not saying Trey Lance is necessarily even winning, but if it's close and Lance looks like he can make it, and somebody is offering me something for Jimmy G, I'm shipping Jimmy G out of town. Because if I'm going to start Trey Lance, I don't want a QB controversy.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Every
you
time
don't
Trey
want
Lance goes
that.
out there and has a bad game, put Jimmy G in, put Jimmy G in.
Yeah,
I don't want to
you
deal with all that shit. Because trust me, somebody that just went through this shit for Nick Foles and Wentz, and then as soon as we get rid of Nick Foles, we draft Jalen Hurts and it starts all over again. You don't want to deal with that.
The Bears last year with Trubisky and Foles. Oh, Foles, no Trubisky. Oh,
Yep.
No matter what, you get yelled at.
Exactly. So, again, I kind of took a little bit of an easier way out, but I think that's the approach I would take.
Totally agree on that one.
Sounds good.
All right, well, then they went out and got an offensive lineman. Again, pretty much Notre Dame's entire offensive line's been drafted today. And so then
I
they
wouldn't want to be Notre Dame's quarterback next year.
right.
Sounds like all 5 of
I mean,
them.
if all 5 of them went to the NFL, man,
Yeah.
he's in trouble.
Yeah.
And then they went out and took a pretty solid running back. Ohio State's running back was pretty good.
Yeah, he was.
He got hurt during the year, though.
Yeah. But the other thing is Shanahan doesn't give a shit who his running back is. Shanahan cycles in running backs. If you cause problems or want paid, he ships you out and brings another one in and does the same thing. So, yeah. And then they drafted a corner out of Michigan. I don't knock anything Shanahan does for the most part. I think Shanahan and Lynch have their shit together, and San Francisco are doing a really good job out there.
Yeah, they turned them
They
around
just had
almost
Had
overnight.
that much injuries last year. That's why.
I think if they don't have the rash of injuries they had last year, they'll be contenders,
I think so.
no matter who their quarterback is.
All right.
Unless Trey Lance comes out and just falls flat on his face, they'll be contenders. Their defense is so good, and their offense, the pieces around the quarterback, the line, the receivers, the running backs, are all good enough to support even mediocre quarterback play. It's not like Jimmy G was a world beater the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
No.
They still got Sherman, right?
No, I don't think they do actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's a free agent. I think he's signed.
I
Oh, man.
I think he's out there.
Because whether he's on the field or not, he's a good leader in the locker room. I like Sherman.
Anything else on the Niners, guys?
Yep.
All right, we got as Uncle Doug would say, the Sea Chickens, and then they did not have a first-round pick.
Man.
They had a second-rounder, Dwayne Eskridge, receiver, Western Michigan. They also had no third-round pick. They had a fourth, no fifth, a sixth, and no seventh.
Wow.
What a tiny, tiny draft haul.
Yeah.
A second, a fourth, and a sixth.
I guess they like even numbers.
Who did they trade their first and third
Yeah, no
for?
shit.
The safety.
Oh, Jamal Adams.
Oh,
Jamal
yeah,
Adams.
I forgot about Jamal Adams. Yeah, they made
Traded
it.
for Jamal Adams.
Yep. Forgot about that. Good call. And I have no idea about anything about this receiver.
I don't watch. I'm 17 West Virginia.
Yeah. The Rams were looking for a speedy receiver, and I think he was one of the ones that was on the list at second or third round. So that's about all I know about him. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for some offensive linemen.
Well, considering their offensive line is terrible and their starting right tackle went to jail, I think offensive line should have been a priority there. But we got to call a spade here, guys. The Seahawks have drafted awful for years now. They just cut their first round draft pick from 2 years ago. Penny, the running back,
Oh, yeah.
deuces. And everybody was stunned when they took him. So the Seahawks have not drafted well for years now, and it's really starting to show. And out of the two guys, at least, Russell Wilson has a lot bigger bitch than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
He's been running for his life for 5 years now, and he does have a couple of receivers. I'll give him that. But now his defense is terrible.
Yeah.
So it's like no offensive line, which also means no running game, and no defense. But hey, you got two good receivers.
Yeah.
Like, and he keeps taking that team to the playoffs.
And they drafted another receiver.
And they did draft another receiver. So I don't know what they're playing. And Pete Carroll's a defensive coach.
Yeah. Didn't they go out and get a defensive lineman right at the end of the season?
Huh.
Oh, they got that one guy.
I know they traded for Carlos Dunlap midseason.
I don't remember from anybody else.
I don't remember now.
Well, anybody got anything else to say about the Seahawks?
Nope.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck's right. Good luck, Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So that's the last team in the NFC. So who do you guys think had the best draft?
I'm not trying to be biased, but I think the Bears had a pretty good draft.
I think the Bears had a good draft. I think the Eagles had a good draft.
I do.
I think the Vikings had a really good draft.
Yeah,
Good
Vikings.
draft.
Yeah.
Right.
We doing AFC and NFC or
Yeah, out of the whole,
Yeah,
the whole
everybody.
thing. I just wondered who you thought had the best draft overall.
Well, you can't knock the Colts. I could be biased on that one.
Yeah,
I think Patriots.
the Patriots had a pretty good haul itself. Yeah,
They
that's
did,
true.
yeah. And they got
And so did Jacksonville, really.
Right, yeah.
I think the Chargers. I think they had good drafting O linemen.
I think there's a couple of teams in here that just had such massive hauls. Like they brought in so many guys, and I'm not talking into the draft guys because there was a couple teams in there that had like 3/5 and 3/6 and 3/7. I don't care about that stuff. Like, but Jacksonville had 2 firsts and 2 seconds
Right.
and a third. Like that's a lot of draft capital being brought in. I feel like there was somebody else that had a couple of firsts and seconds, but I can't remember who it was.
Well, didn't the Vikings come in with like 3/3?
Yeah, the
Vikings
Vikings had
had-
3/3. Yeah.
And you can build it. I mean, when you're already a winning team, you got those kind of guys coming in, that sets you up for the future.
Well, I can tell you who I think had the worst draft. The Houston Texans.
Yeah.
No
Yeah,
first
I would have to
rounder.
agree.
Although the Seahawks could compete with them
They're right
probably.
there,
The
yeah.
Seahawks are a winning team.
That's true.
I do feel bad for Houston.
You know what? I thought about this the other day. This is off topic, but if I was the Packers, I might trade Rodgers to Houston. How you like me now?
Hey,
Yeah.
See how you like that.
That would be a big douche move.
Hey, man. Deshaun Watson will probably be ecstatic to be in Green Bay.
Yeah, no kidding.
Deshaun Watson would probably be ecstatic to stay out of jail, apparently.
Well, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Russell Wilson will be excited to be in Green Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be a nice place for Russell Wilson.
Oh, yeah. He would love that.
That would not be a good
Well, I
Hey,
certainly
no.
don't want Rodgers on the West Coast.
But Rodgers couldn't do what Russell Wilson's doing.
No.
They would pummel him behind that line.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I won't ask any more off the cuff questions, guys. Sorry. Well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in for both of our sessions of the NFL draft coverage. Um, we will be back again Thursday like normal. But we just wanted to release these and get these out of the way. We appreciate your listen, and thanks for listening to Sports the Nemo Way.